Have you ever felt like you're carrying a backpack you can't take off? A backpack filled with all your past mistakes, regrets, and what-ifs? Imagine a man who walked through life like this every single day. Let's call him Alex. Alex wasn't just walking. He was walking with his head tilted back, always looking over his shoulder. Every new conversation he had was instantly compared to a conversation from his past. Every decision, big or small, was filtered through the lens of a mistake he made years ago. To the outside world, he was alive, going through the motions of his day. But inside, he was trapped in a time loop, reliving the same painful memories over and over again. His past wasn't a collection of stories he could learn from. It was a heavy, invisible backpack that was slowly crushing him. He never took it off. Not when he woke up, not when he went to sleep. It was always there. This went on for years. Friends would invite him out, and he'd say no, remembering a time he embarrassed himself at a party a decade ago. A new opportunity would arise at work, and he'd pass on it, haunted by a project that failed under his watch. He was living in a self-made prison, with the bars forged from his own memories. His present was just a pale echo of his past. He wasn't building a future. He was just trying to avoid repeating history, and in doing so, he was sacrificing everything. Then, one ordinary Tuesday, something shifted. It wasn't a dramatic event, no lightning strike or grand epiphany. It was small. He was cleaning out an old desk drawer and found a faded photograph. It was a picture of him as a kid, maybe 7 or 8 years old, grinning from ear to ear, holding a slightly lopsided clay pot he'd made. He remembered that day. He remembered being so proud of that pot, even though it was imperfect. He remembered the feeling of wet clay on his hands and the pure joy of creating something. He stared at the photo, at the carefree boy who wasn't afraid to make something wobbly and imperfect. And for the first time in a very long time, a genuine question surfaced in his mind, clear as a bell. It wasn't a voice of judgment or regret. It was a voice of pure, simple curiosity. He asked himself, out loud to the empty room, how much of my life right now am I sacrificing for things I can't change? The question hung in the air. It was so simple, yet so powerful. It was like a key turning in a lock that had been rusted shut for years. How much joy was he missing? How many connections was he avoiding? How much of his own potential was he letting wither away? All because he was so focused on a past that was set in stone. He looked from the photo of the happy boy back to his own reflection in the window. He saw the tired lines on his face, the tension in his shoulders. The weight of that invisible backpack suddenly felt heavier than ever. That single question was the start of a new journey. It wasn't a magical quest to erase the past. You can't just delete memories. It was a human journey, a slow and sometimes difficult process of learning to let go. He didn't try to forget the mistakes. Instead, he started to look at them differently. He began to see them not as chains, but as lessons. That failed project at work, it taught him about planning and communication. That awkward party, it taught him about social anxiety and how to be more mindful of others. He started small. He accepted an invitation to coffee with a coworker. During the conversation, when his mind started to drift back to a similar chat that went wrong years ago, he consciously pulled himself back. He focused on the taste of the coffee, on the words his coworker was saying right now. He chose to be present. It was hard. His mind was like a trained muscle, always wanting to snap back to the familiar groove of regret, but he kept trying. He also started practicing gratitude. Every evening, before bed, he would think of 3 things from that day he was grateful for. Not huge, life-changing things. Sometimes it was just the warmth of the sun on his face, or a good song he heard on the radio, or the simple fact that he made it through another day. This simple act began to rewire his brain, shifting its focus from what was lost to what he had right here, right now. He was learning to be grateful for what was, for the experiences that shaped him, but he was choosing to live in what is. Slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, things began to change. The backpack didn't vanish overnight, but it started to feel lighter. Some days, he'd almost forget he was carrying it. He started to smile more, a genuine smile that reached his eyes. He took on a small new project at work, and while he was nervous, the fear didn't paralyze him. He found that the lessons from his past failures actually made him better at his job. He was no longer just avoiding mistakes. He was using his experience to build something new and better. He reconnected with old friends. He explained vaguely that he'd been going through a tough time, and they understood. He found that the world hadn't been waiting for him to fail again. It had just been waiting for him to show up. The joy of connection, of shared laughter, of being seen for who he was today, not who he was 10 years ago, was like water to a man who had been wandering in the desert. Alex's story isn't about becoming a new person. It's about reclaiming the person who was there all along, buried under the weight of the past. It shows us that peace isn't found in forgetting. It's found in accepting. Joy isn't found in a perfect, mistake-free life. It's found in the messy, beautiful, imperfect present. And freedom? Freedom is the moment you realize you have a choice. You can choose to keep looking back, to let your past define your every move. Or you can make the single, powerful decision to turn around, to face forward, and to start walking toward a new sunrise. It's a choice you can make right now. The past is a place of reference, not a place of residence. Acknowledge it, learn from it, and then gently let it go. Your present is waiting for you. So if you feel like you're carrying that heavy backpack, just stop for a moment, take a deep breath, and ask yourself that same question. How much of my life am I sacrificing for something I can no longer change? The answer might just be the key that sets you free. It's your turn to choose to be present, to find joy in today, and to give yourself the gift of a new beginning. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more content on living a more present and fulfilling life. See you in the next one. Bye.